Implosion versus explosion, a jar-breaking demonstration. Sounds corny, I agree, and even worse than that, I intend for this video to be uploaded and made public on June 18th, 2024, the 1-year anniversary of the Titan implosion. Now, before anyone accuses me of benefiting from the misfortune of others, keep in mind that other than the word implosion, there is very little in this video that would simulate what happened to the Titan. For one thing, I will be dealing with only about 30 inches of mercury for the vacuum implosions, and a rough equivalent of only 15 psi of pressure for the explosions. That is less than what most people run in their riding lawnmower tires, and much less than the 5,000 to 6,000 psi the Titan encountered at the depth of the Titanic. I will also be forcing the glass jars to break by use of a fairly dense flying object. To date, there is no evidence that the Titan struck or was struck by any object to force the implosion. To me, having this date as a goal to get this video uploaded will simply force me to get off my ass and do so. And besides, I've been wanting to do this type of demonstration ever since I purchased the vacuum pump several years ago. I have been saving all kinds of glass jars over the past several months for this demo, but decided to only use two types for now, an 18-ounce and 32-ounce, once containing Smucker's jams and jellies packed with high fructose corn syrup as the second ingredient. Both jar sizes accept the same lid, so I may only have to drill one lid, assuming it survives each of the demolition processes. The vacuum pump I will be using is a Yellow Jacket Super Evac model 93560. It is a 2-stage, 6 CFM that I originally purchased to repair the chassis air conditioner on my motorhome, but never needed it as the problem turned out to be a stuck heater valve. Supposedly this thing sucks pretty hard compared to other models. 28 to 29 inches of mercury, nearly a full vacuum, but I will be confirming that with a different gauge here shortly. The compressor is just your classic piston style, horizontal tank made by Craftsman. Since it holds 25 gallons of 150 psi, I doubt I'll ever need to pump it back up again to finish this project. The object I will be throwing at the glass jars to break them is this cast, cylindrical, hourglass-shaped object consisting almost entirely of atomic number 82. They measure at a diameter of about 0.3 inches and weigh in at just under 50 grains. It seems it's easier for me these days to throw underhand when trying to get the 600 to 800 feet per second I might need to break the jars, which is fine because I'll be using the old tried and true Spidey web shooter method to improve accuracy. As most of you already know, that consists of winding string, or in this case dental floss, around the object and tying the other end around your wrist, and as you throw it, it unwinds and causes the object to spin, which improves accuracy. In fact, let me try a few warm-up practice throws and some paper at 15 yards, which is about where that wheelbarrow is right there. It looks further than that, but that's because I'm trying out my new 10 to 20 millimeter lens that was on back order for 7 months. I just got it this week, but I can already tell that it makes things look further than they really are. Alright, so let me change to a more appropriate lens and try those warm-up throws. Alright, well I feel confident enough now that I can slip a few between the chronograph's guide rods without worrying about damaging anything other than the backstop behind it. Okay, it looks like about an average of 721. The last two shots were a duplicate. That's what that dupe one means. But what do you say we go drill a lid, man? lot of the vacuum pumps I've seen only go up to about, or I should say down to about 20 inches of mercury. This one, usually I see the needle go up to about 30 on here. So I got it hooked up to the vacuum gauge in my truck. Be that gauge here. So right now it's reading 0. So I'm going to go ahead and hook another camera up in here to watch the gauge, and I'll go flip on the vacuum pump and see what it actually puts out. Although this gauge is probably not extremely accurate either, but it's probably better than what that simple gauge on the pump is actually putting out. Because even the instructions for that pump say it's just kind of a guideline, and to be more accurate, you want to get like a digital gauge on there when you're using it on air conditioner systems and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on this gauge here. So here we go. Okay, looks like it's bleeding off a little bit. I assume each little black mark around the perimeter is 5. So that should be about 25 right now. Right there should be 20. And 15 right there. There's 10. That's 5 right there. And it looks like it stopped. Let's see if I'll bleed it off to speed it up here a little bit. Okay, 0. Okay, leaving the launch pad and going to ground 0, about 15 yards away. We got a containment tarp, and it's 7.5 feet wide, which is that way, and 9.5 feet long. And right now we got it hooked up to the vacuum pump, and it's been on there for about well over 2 hours, and it's still, as you can see, still holding its vacuum. We got the jar on a 2x8. Over here to the right, we got the Blackmagic 6K set for 120p, 2.7K. It's got the 100 to 400 zoom lens on it, and it's set right now at 100 because that 2.7K plus with the crop sensor it already has really crops it in pretty good, but it gets the entire jar in the frame. The other camera is the R5C, and it's got the 16 to 35 on it, and we're set at about 28 millimeter for that, and it'll be getting the entire tarp, the zone of shrapnel, and it's also recording the sound. Right now we are in vacuum mode, and like I say, it's been holding a vacuum for well over 2 hours. And to go to blow mode, go from suck to blow mode, simply just remove that fitting. It's got actually a seal inside there. It'll just attach by hand tight with a knurled knob on there. And now it's in blow mode with the blue line going to the compressor. Now the problem I've experienced, or been preliminary pressure testing here, is that the jar and lid combination does not take much more than 5 psi, and I'm hoping to get about 15 for the testing. I've tried different lids and using actually a rubber seal in there, but that didn't seem to help at all. So yeah, let me go show you what it's doing here. My hopes were to just simply Hook this up to the compressor line, like that, and then crack the valve open. As you can see, it's not holding pressure. A little tighter, that'll help. I want it to be about 15 psi there, but whoa, don't want that. As you can see, it doesn't hold hardly any pressure at all. Even, I think it holds about 5. No? No, see it. There's 10 right there. Yeah, I think 5 is about the limit. So my plan was to put this regulator on here. Would you just simply be in line? Let me back the pressure off here. Put that on the compressor side, and this on that side. I'll just close that valve, just be safe here. Okay, no air. And I'll just crank up the, get this out of the way. I'll just crank up the regulator. To 15. And I'll just leave it there while I destroy it. So yeah, it'll be leaking a little bit while it's sitting there, but that's the only way I can come up with being able to maintain 15 psi on there. So that's the plan for that. And of course, ambient mode would simply be just leaving the hose disconnected and open to the atmosphere. Let's see, I forgot to mention that inside the lid got a small little filter in there, a little piece of I think it's cotton, an old sock or something like that. Just wrapped around the fitting, and that'll keep any glass when it's in the vacuum mode, and possibly any glass to keep it from going up the line and possibly getting to the vacuum pump. I don't think it would, but just in case it did, you never know. And I also forgot to mention that on this camera, I got the polarizer on there because you can kind of see quite a bit of glare coming off of that tarp, and it seems to help quite a bit with that. Let me see if I can show that happening there. And you can kind of see in a viewfinder as I turn the polarizer that'd be basically with no polarizer on there, a bunch of glare. So I'll get that set to about something like that. In the video, the first scene you'll see is from the black magic over there, and of course there'll be no sound. So what you can do, if you want to play a game with me, try to see if you can guess whether it's vacuum or ambient or pressurized in the jar when it gets demolished. And then the next scene you'll see it'd be from this camera showing the whole thing with the sound. When it's on the compressor mode, pressurized mode, you'll probably hear some leaking out of the jar lid there, so you'll know what that is. And I think you'll probably see in ambient mode the hose disconnected or connected to the blue compressor line or to the vacuum pump, and that'll kind of tell you what it is there too. So that'd be proof of what it was doing. Yeah, so I guess we'll get started. Jar number 1, which I believe will probably be this jar. Okay, this is a 32-ounce jar, but I think we'll start off with a 18-ounce jar. I got more of those. It's just a standard jelly jar. Pretty much from here to here, I want to go right in between that. Right in the middle of the main body of the jar. And for the 32 ounce, it'd probably be somewhere in here. That's where I'll be aiming at. So try to just to try to maintain some consistency throughout the video, I guess. Okay, I purposely did the pressurized one last because I kind of expected it to spread out a little bit more, but it spread out quite a bit more actually than what I was expecting. I was kind of hoping it'd stay contained with the tarp, but I found one here from ground zero that's about 21.5 feet away. Sizable chunk. And I think I found some smaller. Yeah, there's a small piece down there. And I think there's one here. And several little ones all scattered about. There's one there. Let's see, am I pointing? Yeah, I can't hardly see it on the screen, but a few scattered about here. By the Black Magic camera. A couple pieces over here. There's some up against the tree in here. Lots of little ones like that scattered about. I'm not too worried about the camera because I got a clear filter over the main lens, so I'm not too worried about any impacts hitting the lens here. And of course with the circular polarizer on there, that's kind of protecting the expensive lens also, so not too worried about it. But yeah, that last one, not too much really remained on the tarp. The vacuum one definitely stayed pretty well contained, and the ambient did spread out a little bit more than that, but basically the tarp is not doing a whole lot other than the ambient close to ground zero there. Got some large pieces here at the edge of the tarp, and I measured this, I believe, right there, small piece.
about 14 feet away from ground zero. There's also a larger chunk here. It's probably 12 feet away. And of course, there's a big one in here. There's probably gonna be lots in the brush here that I'm not gonna be able to recapture. And anything else that's left behind just have to be mulched up in the lawnmower. Alright, so I guess we can go on to go do a few 32-ounce jars. And this would be victim number 1, I believe. I started just cleaning stuff up. I just found this guy here. Actually stabbed the tarp. It's the first time pulling it out here. Oh, that's long. Look at that thing. That's wicked. Yeah. You can see we're looking at the entrance hole and then the exit hole. A little bit bigger, but most of the glass, if you look inside the jar, most of the glass is staying in the jar and small glass dust. There is some scattered about here on the tarp where some of it just had to blow out. But other than that, you can see it stays pretty well contained, especially on this 32-ounce jar. Under vacuum, of course. Oop. Came apart. Might be a little bit of glass in here. Very fine dust, looks like. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, I was curious to see just how much glass I was not able to recover after damaging the 6 jars by tossing the 50-grain slugs of atomic number 82 at them. So first we need to weigh in similar jars. So we'll zero that, convert it to grams, and we got our 3 32-ounce jars and 3 18-ounce jars. And it looks like they come to 1572, 1573 grams. got an empty box and an empty bag. Throw that on there. Tear that back to 0. Pull out the empty bag. Replace it with the bag of our recovered glass shards. We got 1514. So let's see how much it takes to bring it back to 15. What was it, 1572 or something like that? Just some safety tempered glass, I believe it's called. Let's see what that does there. A little too much, huh? All right. Oh, took too much off. Maybe the scale's acting funny again here. 15, yeah. Don't matter. Looks like that's about how much is unrecovered, still out in the yard, waiting to be stepped on by someone or something. And again, yeah, this is safety glass. That's what kids these days play with. Although I wouldn't recommend it for anyone under 3, because you could still swallow that and I guess choking hazard. But yeah, when we were kids, we played, of course, with the good glass. Yeah, we made arrowheads out of them for our homemade bows and all kinds of knives and stabbing weapons, as Arnold would say. But yeah, good recovery, not bad.
And we'll try a few now with a little smaller version of atomic number 82, a mini-me, I guess you could call it. It measures about 0.215 on the diameter, and it weighs just about 18 grains. Well, it took a couple tosses to learn how to compensate for the lighter weight, but I think I got it now. And another 100 feet per second faster. Cool. Well, my arm's starting to get a little tired, so I'm just going to go with one throw with the mini-me here. Can you tell what that was? No? Let's take another view with the Osmo Pocket 3. If you guessed vacuum, you are correct. Insert cheering crowd now. Don't have that? All right.
And that's probably the first one that didn't totally come apart, maybe? I don't know. Okay, all ready for the side-by-side double feature. The small piece of atomic number 82 is on the left, and the bigger one is on the right. And no, I won't be crossing the streams, because that could be very dangerous. And if I hit both jars at the same time, then that'd be great, but I wouldn't count on it. So let's go see what happens.
Of course, I've got a tripod leg obstructing the view of mini-me on the left there. And it's pressurized this time. And its big brother is on the right in the vacuum. The final 2 jar breaks will be with water in the 18-ounce jars. I'll be back to throwing the larger piece of atomic number 82 at them, and this first one will be under a vacuum. Now you may have noticed some bubbles forming in that jar before it broke, and that's because water, when under a vacuum, will boil at a significantly lower temperature. Same scenario as before, except this time the water-filled jar is under pressure. The disturbance you see going on there is not boiling this time, but rather just air entering and escaping, causing some agitation. Alright, so that's about all I got. It's starting to get dark anyways. I got the tarp hung and most of the mess all cleaned up, but no doubt I'll be finding some little shards of glass in the yard for years to come. But it was worth it. It was kind of fun blowing those things up. Hope you liked the video. If not, thanks for watching anyways, and I'll see you in the next one.